This is Voice to Culture, a podcast for the modern day confused citizen.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
I'm Amy.
And I'm Carolyn. Welcome back to another episode. Today we have a special guest who is a soon to be author of a book about student loans titled The American Crisis: The Secret Behind Student Loans. She is the founder of two organizations, the Global Medium and GenZ Girls. Most notable of all, she is only a high school student. Please welcome Meghana Boda.
Yay!
Hi.
Hi, it's good to see you. I know we talked about earlier, but yeah, and if that was a lengthy intro, but it didn't cover some of the things you want to talk about, feel free to just go on and just talk about everything you want to talk about today. But
Yeah,
for sure. So to get started, we just wanted to go off of what was said earlier. So as a high school student, what do you feel like are the most important issues or causes to you that you care about in the moment? And we'd also love to know how that relates to the global medium or Gen Z girls.
Yeah, so as a high school student, I'm actually Asian. My parents are from India, and I know Asian hate is like a big topic going around right now in social media. And I think it's actually something really important to address because my parents were immigrants from India and they came here looking for better job opportunities and just like a better lifestyle and all. And I think it's personally very sad to see that it's not the ideal world that they expected it would be. There's a lot more discrimination, and even throughout elementary school, we grew up learning that America is kind of like the melting pot with different religions, different cultures, different types of people. But when those same people that were teaching those things, and when you've learned that your whole life, if those same people are discriminating against you, that can be really hurtful to see. So I felt like that was a big problem that I personally connected to. And I think a lot of the Gen Z girls and global medium community, we have a lot of diversity in our teams, and I just really like all of the representation.
Yeah, and on top of managing these two organizations, we've also heard that you're pursuing both journalism and veterinary medicine, which are two extremely different fields of study. And we were wondering, how do you juggle between the two?
Yeah, so I actually found interest in both of those last year. I've always loved animals, so veterinary sciences have always been one of my interests. But I think I really wanted to become a veterinarian last year. And journalism, it also started last year because one of my really good friends is also into journalism, and I started writing more too. And because of that, I actually founded the Global Medium. And I think time management has always been really hard for me, but I like to say that I've been getting better at that. Um, I don't think I don't think I'm doing necessarily too much for sciences and all of that right now. I'm focusing more on writing and editing, but I hope to do more with that in the future.
To sort of piggyback off of the last question, could you actually elaborate on your passion for the editorial industry and the law or legal system?
Yeah, so writing, I've always actually been told that I was a good writer throughout elementary school and middle school, but I never really minded it. I was like, whatever. Um, but I I actually started writing and it allowed me to really express my thoughts and feelings. And I also got involved in my school's speech and debate organization. And I competed in a lot of speech competitions. And that sort of got me interested in the legal system. And in speech, there are like different categories where you can write your speeches and you can sort of express yourself through that. And I think having that sense of creativity would help you in the legal world to make a statement and prove a point. So I feel like those two kind of go hand in hand, and I've been really interested in those recently. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? I actually found you through your writing. So when you made a post talking about the book you were writing about student loans, I was like, wow, this seems like really interesting. And that's how I got to like know more about you and like what you were planning on writing about. So I just wanted to ask
Yeah.
you, like, how did you like meet this Georgetown professor and like decide, hey, I'm gonna write this book together? And like what inspired you to actually write the book?
So I actually didn't personally know Professor Custer from Georgetown. His assistant, she reached out to me on LinkedIn because she saw my profile, and I was doing a lot of journalism related things at the time. So she thought it would be a good idea for me to get involved with him and sort of write this book. And so I think a lot of the changes in my life happened last year because I found interest in this topic also last year. I found a documentary episode on one of my favorite shows on the student loan debt crisis, and before that I had never really even heard much of it. I knew debt was a problem, but I didn't know, especially I was a middle schooler last year and I hadn't known any of these problems. So watching that episode, it opened my eyes to see that it's such a huge problem, and doing more research really allowed me to expand on that, and I felt like it had enough potential to be a whole book.
Yeah, seeing your accomplishments is really so cool. I can really tell that you're like a driven person. And I think that attitude will definitely like lead you far in life. And this is sort of a similar question to my previous one, and it kind of touches on what everybody's been talking about so far. Considering how you do so much and like you're just entering high school, how do you like manage it all? Like, does it ever feel overwhelming to you?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, thank you for the compliment. But so my mom actually, she introduced me to this one technique kind of where you list all of your accomplishments so far on a board, and you have all your goals and aspirations also on the board, and every time that goal or aspiration turns into an accomplishment, like you'll be able to see that it's an accomplishment. And every time that change happens, I get like really inspired to do the next thing and do the next thing. That's been really motivating because every time I do it on a bulletin board and I see it like every morning. So whenever I look at that, it kind of drives me to do something to reach a goal every day. So that's kind of how I've been trying to get so much done. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't think I'm that great at time management.
So I kind of wanted to segue into more of a serious topic in regards to today. Especially with the prominence of social media. It's not so uncommon to see other girls shame other girls for their interests or like their bodies or etc. So I feel like this is due to internalized misogyny, and I wanted to know if um, like these types of toxicities are one of the main causes that Gen Z girls is trying to fight against, or and what your overall thoughts on internalized misogyny are.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a very huge and large problem that needs to be addressed, especially due to all of the harsh realities that girls are facing because of it. And I think that Gen Z Girls definitely addresses those types of things, but the part that I really like about it is that it has a very broad spectrum of topics that it talks about. Like, in the past, we've talked about Islamophobia, which is one topic. And then we also talk about natural hair movement. Those would be two completely different things that hopefully brings up confidence of girls all around, and all types of girls can really relate to those problems. Overall, I think, yes, we would definitely talk about those things, but I think we have a really wide range that we can talk about, and I really like that aspect of it.
I think it's very great to hear that there's, like you said, a wide range of topics that Gen Z Girls is tackling, and I just think it's very like inspiring to know that there's different topics that might have been stigmatized in our society that are being brought into the spotlight.
Yeah, so I know that was a lot of like just talking back and forth, but thank you so much for your responses so far. And now we just want to transition more to like the personal, like fun questions, just to like get to know you better, like what you like. So the first one just being like, what kind of sports do you like, if any?
Yeah, so I've actually been involved in a lot of sports throughout my life. I think I've played 7 in all. But now, currently I'm involved in tennis. I love to play tennis, and I also run. So those are like the two, cross country and tennis are like the two main sports that I'm involved in. Yeah.
Do you like tennis or cross country better?
That's a very tough question because my 7th grade, for us in school at least, sports start in 7th grade. And in 7th grade, I just did tennis. And then 8th grade, I did cross country and tennis because they're both fall season sports. So it was very hard. And then high school, I had to make a decision between tennis or cross country, and I ended up going with tennis. And I want to see if I can potentially do both next year, but we'll see.
Dang, girl, you literally do so much. It's actually crazy. I remember like I joined the swim team in like sophomore year, and I did it for like 1 year, but like it was like just juggling school and like that and on top of clubs. That was like crazy for me. So I don't know how
Yeah,
you're
I did.
doing it, girl.
Thank you. I did swim team during middle school. That was a big part of my life because swim team takes a lot. It really does.
And with like you doing so much, what do you do in your free time, like when you have time for yourself, what do you like to do?
Yeah, so I recently got into digital art. I've been really like, I love to do that in my free time, so I've been doing that, and I also paint whenever I have free time. That's a bit like, I need a bit longer for that, but I do that as well. I used to play the piano up until last year, but I haven't been doing much of that anymore, and I hope to. Yeah, but those are kind of like the main things, and I also love like stuff around arts and music. So I do dance and singing.
You have like a lot of like varied interests, and I just want to say like it's so good that you're trying out all these different things like when you're younger, because like when you're older it's like, oh yeah, like everything costs so much and like everything takes time to like invest in, so it's like really good you're trying out early.
Yeah, thank you.
I have to say, like, you're a really well-rounded individual. Like Kelly said, you have like so many varied interests, and like you manage to like balance everything on one plate, and I'm like amazed, especially like at such a young age too. But I did want to ask you like if you had any goals for 2021 or looking forward in 2022, even though that might seem very far right now.
Well, hopefully my book will publish at the end of this year around December or around that time. I'm really looking forward to that. It's been a lot of work so far. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that publishing date. That's a really big part. Other than that, I have to start practicing again. The weather's gotten better for tennis season, so I have to start practicing again because I didn't do much during the winter, which is gonna be bad. But yeah, the book publishing is like the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Like, let us know when it comes out. I'm like so excited to hear more about it.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, just to wrap up, lastly, we want to ask you if there was like one piece of advice or like takeaway that our audience can listen to that you would like to give. Like, what would it be?
Yeah, I know a lot of times, at least for a high school audience, um, a lot of people can be confused with what they want to do. And that's kind of me at this point as well. And everyone puts, like, sort of feeds it into your mind that you have to know exactly what you're going to do. You have to know what steps you have to take to get there. Even like I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I think it's fine. I think you should be prepared to get that from a lot of people, and you have to know that it's fine to not know anything. Because I have friends that went till their freshman year in college that didn't even know what they were doing yet or majoring in or anything like that, and that's completely fine. And also another thing completely off of topic from that, I think it's important to have confidence in yourself that you can be the person you want to be. Just set up, like how I said with the board, create a board, maybe have all your goals and aspirations down. They can be completely off topic. Like I said, one can be for sports, one can be for music, or whatever you want it to be for. And just try working towards that. And slowly you will see progress. And I think through that, you'll kind of get clarity for yourself, and it'll kind of clarify what exactly you enjoy doing most, and it would actually be really helpful for your future.
Yeah, I agree with the whole like vision board thing because like I think like the Pinterest and like the Notion boards that like clearly outline like what you want to accomplish and the kind of person you want to become. I think it's like so it's like really motivating because it's not only it's like really aesthetic, you can like visualize your identity and the person you become. Because if you always tell yourself that, oh, I'm not a math person, then yeah, you're not going to act like someone who is a math person. You're not going to believe in yourself. Versus like if you tell yourself that you're still learning and that you are someone who's going to keep trying no matter what, then you build those habits that are actually fundamental to becoming a math person per se.
And Notion is a great resource. I know so many
Yes.
people have used it. I use it too. And it's such a great organization tool, and it's really easy to navigate too. So I definitely recommend using it.
All right, that wraps up our interview. Thank you so much again for sharing your incredible story and insights with us.
We really enjoyed having you as a guest, and we'll be sure to link all of our socials and other works down in the description box below. If you're interested in what we do and want to better understand what we're about, you can check out all of our socials. So all ads are at Voice to Culture.
If you like this episode, please give us a review or like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified every time we upload a video. We'll be back soon with another episode. Please stay safe and healthy, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.